Dear Diary, today wasn't the greatest day to be a USC fan. In fact, today sucked.
You are Locked On Trojans, your daily podcast on the USC Trojans, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, fight on, everyone. I'm your host, Mark Culkin, and thank you for making Locked On USC. It's part of the Locked On Network, your first listen every day. Whether you're watching the show on YouTube, wherever you're going to download the podcast, this show is always free, and I always want to remind everyone, I always appreciate your support. The college football playoff is here, and you don't want to miss a moment of the action. The college football playoff is presented by Allstate. It begins with 4 first-round games, December 20th and 21st on ESPN, ABC, TNT, and Max. Question? Not really a question. It's more of a statement. Who farted in the USC men's locker room, the football locker room? This is kind of gross, but I have not seen a room clear out like that. I don't know, since the day after I had Tommy's for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, following a night of heavy drinking. Yeah, dangerous room to be in. So far, the room has lost Miller Moss at quarterback, Kyron Hudson, wide receiver, gone to Penn State, Miller, Louisville. Deuce Robinson, he's out there exploring his choice of programs. Quentin Joyner, running back. He's breaking bread at places like Ohio State, among other places. Mason Murphy, offensive lineman. Now, he's found a new home at the Plains in Auburn. He'll be playing offensive line for the Tigers. Amos Talalele, offensive lineman. Just like Gino Quinones. Gone. Don't forget you had a freshman, Lolo Taaga. Gone. I can keep going with names, but I don't want to waste too much of your time. I've gone over this list multiple times. If you're not an everyday listener or watcher of the show, now's the time to subscribe. It's quick, it's easy, it's free. Red subscribe button, it's right there. So all those guys, and then today happened. Zachariah Branch, his older brother, safety Zion, they jumped in the transfer portal. And on the same day that the Branch brothers decided to bail out on USC, USC lost a defensive lineman, Elijah Hughes. But wait, there's more. It keeps getting better. You might want to break out your ShamWow. There was a big mess on aisle 5. Cleanup. So you got those players that are moving on. Okay, you want more? Well, it's not enough that USC is trying to find a replacement for Matt Entz to coach the linebackers. Coach Riley now has to find 2 position coaches. Yeah. I'll talk more about the player losses in the next segment. The larger question right now, how in the hell are you supposed to prepare your team for a bowl game, manage your roster and the transfer portal, while also using your peripheral vision to, remind yourself, hey, I got the 2025 recruiting class to kind of still focus on, and I'm down 2 position coaches. Right now, you need linebackers and offensive line guys out of the transfer portal, and you don't have a position coach for either spot. I don't think this is the way you're supposed to do things. Lincoln Riley has talked about in the past, you've got good offensive coaches, you've got good assistant coaches when other programs come and poach them from you. Okay, true. I don't think Josh Henson making a lateral move from offensive coordinator, albeit in name only, from USC to Purdue is being poached by a better program. I think Coach Henson wants the opportunity to actually call plays. Look, you all know how I feel about USC's run game in 2024. It was, in my opinion, was the best part of USC's offense. Well, in 2024, Josh Henson had a bigger role, not with play calling, but he was he played a big role in USC's run game. helping to design it, make sure it was productive, efficient. But it's still Lincoln Riley's offense. I think that's why Coach Henson is moving on, padding his resume. He wants to actually call plays if he's going to have the title of offensive coordinator. So I do wonder, though, if Barry Odom, Purdue's new head coach, and he has a long relationship going back to when he and Henson coached together at Missouri. I'm wondering, since Odom got done making UNLV relevant in football again, if having a defensive-minded coach with a more conservative offensive play caller, i.e. Josh Henson, or such as e.g. Josh Henson, that might be a better match in the Big Ten Conference. But look, let's look back at Josh Henson's 3-year tenure at USC. I know a lot of you are glad that he's gone, but since he took over, when he took over that team back in for the 2022 season, he had an offensive line that had been playing together for a few years, had good chemistry. You obviously had Caleb Williams back there at quarterback. They looked pretty good. Again, you had experience at the offensive line. Those guys played together. You have Caleb Williams masking a lot of issues. You won the Heisman. The following year, in 2023, the issues began to really kind of pop to the forefront. And it stemmed from what was available in the cupboard when Coach Henson and Coach Riley took over. It was kind of bare. There wasn't a lot to work with. And then when they went into the transfer portal to get guys, they missed. So that didn't help the issue. That didn't help the situation. This year, 2024, they were inconsistent, but they got better, I think, as the year went along. Elijah Page definitely owned that left tackle spot. Once you got past the Michigan game, he really came into his own. I don't think anybody can argue that Emmanuel Prignon, with Josh Henson as his mentor, got really good. I'll be shocked if he's not a day 2 draft choice. I think he's that good. I don't think he lasts past the 3rd or 4th round, which is still a really good spot for an interior offensive lineman to be drafted. Jonah Monheim, enough said. You saw Olani Noah as a true sophomore. He solidified his position as a starting right guard. He started, 11 or 12 games? I'll say it again. I know a lot of you out there who are watching the show, you wanted Josh Henson gone. But look, you can't take away the development of Elijah Page and Prignon. And don't take away his recruiting flowers. I mean, he did bring in Aaron Dunn and Alex Payne. Don't forget the 10 guys in the 2 years prior to that, prior to the 2024 class. So I think you're going to miss Josh Henson a little bit more than some of you might want to let on. I get it. New opportunity, bringing in another offensive line coach. The other guy you got to replace, and you've been looking to replace him now for 2 weeks. Your linebacker coach, Matt Entz. He's been Fresno State's head coach since December 3rd to 4th, whatever, the day before early signing period started. 2 weeks later, USC still looking for a linebacker coach. Timing isn't great. That's all I can say about that. I will tell you this one name that's kind of crossed my radar. Someone sent me a message. They would be in the know. They would. I trust this person that even if it does or doesn't happen, he would have information. So Washington's inside linebacker coach, the Huskies, Robert Bala, Southern California guy. He also has NFL experience. He was with the Raiders organization. If Nick Saban thinks he's good enough to be on his coaching staff, he's probably good enough to be on Lincoln Riley's coaching staff. So right now you've got Zach Hanson, new father to Rockford Hanson, husband to Annie, recruiting coordinator. He's going to take over the offensive line. We'll see if he gets serious consideration. But I think Robert Bala, the Huskies linebacker coach, that's a good name to consider, one in the Polynesian community. I don't know if it'll help getting Kamari House, who's in the transfer portal, to come to USC, but couldn't hurt, right? Again, you want somebody who's got recruiting ties to Southern California. That coach, young coach, checks off that box. As far as the offensive line, I don't know. Again, just happened today. But I would encourage Coach Riley to make sure Vianney Talamayabo's name is in his Rolodex. We know he can recruit. I don't know if he's ready to handle the duties of full-time offensive line coach at USC, but couldn't hurt. Maybe you give Zach Henson the job and you bring in Vianney to work together. Zach can work tight ends and tackles. Let Vianney handle interior offensive line. Why not? Just throwing it out there. Suggestion. What sucks, I think, the most about losing Josh Henson today during the transfer portal when it's open is USC was getting some crystal balls. They were the favorite to land Eugene Brooks, the offensive lineman who was at Oklahoma. Well, he's probably going to pick UCLA now. That's the challenge. When you don't have a coach at your position and you need players at linebacker and at offensive line, the timing could not have been worse. It sucked. So, hate to say it, but we'll end this segment this way because we're going to talk about the players that are in the transfer portal and the production that USC is losing. But here's a sobering thought. UCLA, believe it or not, UCLA is actually having a better transfer portal season right now than USC. Ouch. All right, next segment, we're going to talk about, does the output match the input? And I'll explain that next. Are you ready to tackle the NFL action with FanDuel, America's #1 sports book? Right now, if you're a new customer and you can bet $5, you can get $150 in bonus bets if that first $5 bet wins. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you absolutely everything you need, and you can do everything you need in one place. You want to bet live? Great. You want to check out highlights? Cool. You need stats? Get over to FanDuel.com. Just visit FanDuel.com. Join today. You're going to get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. That's FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Prize Picks is the best place to get real money sports action. With over 10 million members and billions, that's with a B, of dollars awarded in winnings, Prize Picks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. You just pick more or less on at least 2 players, and you'll have a shot to win up to 1,000 times your cash. Run your game all season long on Prize Picks. Prize Picks is the best way to get action on sports in over 30 states across the country. And now, if you live in California, Florida, Georgia, Texas, where you haven't been able to do this, now you can. Make your holidays bigger and brighter with Prize Picks, the best place to get real money action while watching your favorite sports. Prize Picks invented this feature called Flex Pay. I say this every time. Flex Play, which means you can still cash out of your lineup if it's not perfect. So you can double your money even if one of your picks doesn't hit. And here's, I think, the best benefit from Prize Picks. They put you, the member, first. So all withdrawals, they're fast, they're safe, they're secure. And when your pick hits, you can get your money in 15 minutes. That's fast. Join now because the holiday season, Prize Picks is giving away 2 free picks in the month of December. And they're giving away $30 plus million in rewards during Pickmas. Sign up today and get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need a win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. Download the app today. Use code LOCKEDONCollege to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Sign up today. You're going to get $50 instantly when you play $5. Prize Picks, run your game. So as bad as it looks right now, today sucked. All right. Let's just say it wasn't a good day to be a Trojan. But, sometimes you need to see a return on your investment. NIL runs college football right now. It's just the fact. You have to accept it. And if you want to have a good roster, you got to figure out how you're going to split up the money, how you're going to split up the revenue. So again, the output has to match the players' bank accounts input. That's where I'm going with this. I want to remind everybody, as much as today sucks, don't forget last year, 2023, USC lost 30 guys to the transfer portal. 3 of them, 5-star elite players. 11 of them, 4 stars. Those were guys out of high school. Let me just throw some names at you who are no longer at USC. Remember Damani Jackson at Alabama? Have you heard about him doing anything at Alabama? Zion Branch jumped in the transfer portal today. Rayleigh Brown. Has he done anything at Arizona State? C.J. Williams. Remember the wide receiver from Mater Dei? When Wisconsin came to town, did you notice him? Zachariah Branch jumped in the portal today. Malachi Nelson. Remember the can't-miss quarterback from Los Alamitos? He's no longer at USC. He's no longer at Boise State. He's back in the transfer portal. I'll let you know where he ends up. Deuce Robinson jumped in the transfer portal earlier last week. We'll see where he goes. Mekhi Lemon at USC. Great. Braylon Shelby still at USC. Tekka Curtis, gone. Quentin Joyner, gone. I mean, it's a lot of talent. Remember who said this? Remember, so what? Now what? I mean, look, if everyone's going to feel like Clay Helton's still piloting the USC ship, okay, I'll pull out that old line from Clay Helton. Let me ask everybody. The names, the stars, I get it. From an optics point of view, it sucks. But what has USC lost in actual production? I mean, let's just be honest. This isn't about coping. This is about being pragmatic, keeping it real, pointing out, hey, if you're getting this, what is USC getting? So let's start with Zachariah Branch. He tied for the team lead in 2024 with receptions. He had 47 catches, 503 yards, 1 touchdown. In his 2 years at USC, 78 passes. He caught 78 passes, 823 total yards, 3 touchdowns, 11 rushing attempts, 87 yards, and a rushing touchdown. Last year as a true freshman, special teams, 16 punts, 332 yards, and a touchdown scored. He had 24 kickoff returns, 442 yards, and a touchdown scored. But I don't know what happened this year. You weren't getting that return. Remember, Zach and his older brother Zion, they signed that NIL deal, big deal. That with the Jumpman, that product line from Nike, the Michael Jordan stuff. Look, great kid, both of them, and I hope nothing but the best. But if we're being honest, their production and Zion was more, injury related. But as far as Zachariah, you take away the freshman All-American season as a special teams player, those numbers do not this year, do not match up for what USC's paying him. When I say USC, I'm just talking the ubiquitous sense, House of Victory, the collective. Deuce Robinson, he's transferring. We know that. The question is why? What has he shown in his 2 years at USC that screams, you got to keep this guy? Don't let him go. Again, Nice young man, well-spoken, polite. You haven't heard anything negative about him, not from the locker room. He has everything you want in a receiver. Big, he's tall, he's got, arms that go from here to there. He's got everything you want. He's fast. Everything you want except the production. Some of it was play calling. You know where I stand on that. I've been very outspoken. I don't think they've used him enough. I don't think they used him properly. But again, when you're 6'6" and you run like the wind, you can't play the position like you're a small wide receiver. You need somebody with that size to be the bully, to be the gooch, to knock players down and go get the ball. Again, don't get me wrong. Losing Branch and Deuce sucks. But when you start to compare their production on the field to the cost, let's just say it. USC could spend that money better on other players at other positions of need. Still got Jacoby Lane. Still got Mekhi Lemon. You got DJ, Xavier Jordan. You got 3 guys coming in. And you're also you're hoping maybe you can get Joe Williams, that young stud from Tulsa. So we'll find out. Kyron Hudson jumped into the portal. Look, USC will survive. Made some great, fantastic catches in 2024. Great young man. But what is USC losing? Really, honestly. Gonna miss him. Great locker room guy. I would say of the offensive players who've jumped into the transfer portal, who USC is going to miss the most, the biggest loss so far is probably Quentin Joyner, the running back. Look, if he was the next guy to be USC starter, had he stayed, he probably, he's going to be USC starter running back. But he wanted too much money, bottom line. Yeah, USC could have paid him. But I think Lincoln Riley has shown that running backs are a dime a dozen. You can find somebody in the transfer portal, and they're going to get the job done. Travis Dye, Austin Jones, Marshawn Lloyd, Woody Marks. I just don't know if any running back, unless they are a Heisman caliber player, is worth $750,000. Not that position. Just not. That's the rumor number going around. But again, as far as production, he's the most valuable between the 3 talents, between Zachariah, Deuce, and Quentin Joyner. Those 3. Obviously, Miller Moss, quarterback. But that issue's been settled a long time ago. So the optics suck. There's no other way to say it. But I guess there could be a positive that comes out of this. And I wrote about this in my article, my Tuesday Thoughts, over there on wearesc.com. So when you're done watching this episode, and we still got one more segment to go, head on over there and you can read about it. Can Lincoln Riley do more with less? What I wrote about was, can you get better numbers, better production with fewer wide receivers that are trying to eat from the same plate? Sometimes you can just have too much talent in the room. So if you have a Deuce and a Zachariah and a Mekhi and a Jacoby, that's too many mouths to feed. Maybe if you start saying, all right, we're going to give some guys some more defined roles, that works out better to USC's advantage. All right, one more segment to go. It's that time of the year. The college football playoff is back, and with the newly expanded 12-team format, it's guaranteed to be bigger and better than ever, bringing you all the hard-hitting and the high-flying excitement that you love. TNT Sports coverage of the college football playoff begins December 21st, starting with the College Football Playoff Kickoff Show, and that's presented by AT&T. That starts at 11 a.m. Eastern. Leading into our first matchup, the Southern Methodist University Mustangs were battling the Penn State Nittany Lions. That's at 12 noon Eastern. Then the Clemson Tigers look to upset the Texas Longhorns in a showdown that'll begin at 4 p.m. Eastern. Don't miss a moment of the action. Watch the College Football Playoff presented by Allstate live on TNT. So, and I'm not a big fan about this. I hate using the term bust or overrated, but for expediency, for lack of a better term, I'm going to use bust or overrated. And this is why I don't like to use the stars. I hate the star ranking system because it puts another word I don't like to use, an expectation level on these players. And if they don't meet it, they get labeled a bust or they were overrated. USC's 3 highest rated players in their 2023 class. Okay, remember the Zachariah, Malachi Nelson, Deuce Robinson. Nelson's in the transfer portal again. Deuce, I don't know, ASU, Arizona State, maybe Florida State. Some school's going to give him what he wants, which is the playing time that he thinks he deserves. And I'm sure he'll get a nice payday again. I want to talk about Zachariah Branch some more. He was the highest rated player in that class. A can't miss guy. I mean, USC was able to hold off Ohio State to keep Zachariah. He could have gone anywhere, any program in the country. USC was able to pull him in. In 2024, I'm starting to peel back the layers now on Zachariah's game. He was targeted. He ran 292 routes. By the way, these numbers, these stats, thank you, Eric McKinney, wearesc.com. Again, that's where you're going when you're done watching the show. These are the things he provides for us. So Zachariah ran 292 routes. He was targeted 78 times. Of those 78 targets, 61 were considered catchable balls thrown to him. That's kind of a subjective stat, but it is what it is. Of those 61 catchable, he caught 47 passes. Okay, is that a good number? Or he's credited with 4 drops. That seems like a low number to me. 503 receiving yards. Of those 503 yards, 125 of them were thrown through the air. 378 yards after the catch. So yards after contact, after he caught the ball. 103 yards after contact. He scored 1 touchdown catching the ball. 6 broken tackles, 3 missed tackles, 21 first downs, and he wasn't able to draw 1 pass interference? Not 1? You couldn't get somebody to hold you as you're running by? Look, I could live with those numbers and say, all right, let's just call it, he had a sophomore slump season. It got into his head early and he just couldn't shake it. Remember, it started against LSU. Remember that easy touchdown that he dropped as he was going to walk into the end zone? Ever since that game, it was just downhill for him. But again, I could deal with, 500 yards of receptions, 47 catches. I could live with that because I understand how many receivers were in the room. But his special teams game just completely disappeared. I mean, remember, he was a freshman All-American. He won the Jet Award. All of a sudden, on kickoff return, he can't find a hole. He's not setting up his blockers. He wasn't getting anything. And it was even worse on punt. So eventually, Lincoln Riley said, look, I can't have you back there returning kicks if you're not going to get us anything. All of a sudden, they put Makai Lemon back there. Everything takes off. All of a sudden now, Makai's, 29 yards per kickoff. They kept Zachariah on punt return, but nothing really happened. He was requesting fair catches. Guys were 10, 15, 20 yards away. Not even close to the halo, which, by the way, there is no more halo rule. But usually if you got anywhere from 7 to 10 yards of space between you and the closest defender, and you've got the skill set of a Zachariah Branch, you're not doing this. He was doing that with guys that are being blocked downfield. Something wasn't working. I don't know. It's hard to watch. I hate to call him a bust, and I don't want to call him overrated. But there's no USC does no. I don't even want to use that term. I think USC anticipated and probably thought they were going to be getting a lot more from Zachariah in 2024. They put a lot on his plate. But when you're supposed to be that guy, that home run hitter, that playmaker, that once you put the ball in his hands, it's one of those hold your breath, oh my gosh, he can score at any time moment. It never happened. So how much of that is him? How much of that is the wide receiver development on the coaching? Have we seen the last of our assistant coaches that are leaving? Josh Henson gone. We know Matt Entz went from position coach to head coach. That was the plan. I don't know if anybody anticipated Josh Henson taking a lateral move from USC, maybe even a lateral step down going to Purdue. He has that connection, that relationship with the new head coach, Barry Odom, which, by the way, don't forget USC's first conference game next year on the road in West Lafayette. Should be interesting. So now you've got two position coaches gone. A lot of conjecture. Does Lincoln Riley need to replace his good friend and wide receiver coach, Dennis Simmons? The way the wide receivers are leaving makes you wonder. All right. I'll have more news and notes and everything about USC tomorrow on another episode of Locked On USC. Don't forget, since we're done with this episode, check out Locked On College Football and then get on over there to wearesc.com. Everything that I didn't talk about, go fill in the blanks over there. And then I'll have more news and notes for you on the next episode of Locked On USC. So until then, everyone, you know what to do.